Final 20 some odd minutes of our show here on a Thursday morning. Tomorrow, don't forget, Corey Provis will join us. Voice of the Twins. They'll be in Boston. They wrap up their series with Cleveland. That's coming up 9:30. Look forward to that on tomorrow's show. Our next guest normally joins us on Tuesdays during the football season, but I missed him. And the Dragons actually just wrapped up spring football. I don't want to talk about football at all because our next guest, Steve Laqua, is a great track mind. I don't know if you know this, but in a few weeks, we're televising the state track meet. Can we call you for analysis? Can you join us on this?
Yeah, I could join you. I might be chasing my 5-year-old around the infield or somewhere. He likes to look at all the school buses lined up on the hills. Some of the drivers are very gracious to give him a tour, and so that's between events. That's where I am. So I don't know if I'll be great on analysis, but I can tell you who's got the best decorated bus, who's got the drivers that are really into it, and whose drivers are asleep hanging out there. So.
Well, but in all seriousness, you got 3 in track. Obviously, your daughter Kate is going to go run for the Bison next year. This is a big deal in a couple weeks in Bismarck.
Yeah, as somebody that didn't run track. I was a baseball guy. I couldn't figure out why anyone wanted to be in track. Like the worst part of every sport is running, and that's all track is. So like I think track coaches are some of the greatest coaches of all time. They convince kids to run. So never really being at state track, going there, a handful of years ago when Kate got the opportunity to be there as an 8th grader, it's phenomenal experience. It's for me personally, it's like this connection of my high school life where I see people that are doing high school.
Yes.
I've got our current recruits and current and former parents are there, and I'm seeing them like my NDSU day people. And so like all of my life like shows up there in all these random spots, and that part's awesome. It's really cool. There's a couple of years ago, I'm at the top of the hill with my son walking around, and they're going for like the state record in the pole vault. And the whole stadium is clapping for this one individual to achieve greatness. And I thought, where in sports do you find an entire stadium cheering for somebody to be their best?
Yep.
Usually, if you're shooting a free throw to win the game, somebody's booing or trying to distract you or whatever. Everybody on the same page. It's an unbelievable event. Excited. We've got so many great memories from it. And, they go fast. Kate's a senior, and so it's that'll hit hard. It'll hit different.
I called the state track meet. It's North Dakota's biggest reunion. It really is because everybody gets to see one another. They have it every year. In Bismarck, it happens every year on Memorial Day weekend.
It's a fabulous venue. It's a fabulous setup. If people have not been there, if you're not a track fan, it's worth coming for the camaraderie, the increase of people competing. And it's crazy. You look at it every year, you'll see some fabulous stories of somebody that'll PR because they're running at a meet against and with other people that are better than them, and it just pulls them all to a higher level. It's like the ultimate like microcosm of people like that you surround yourself with. They raise you to another level, and it's a fabulous event.
I guess we should chat some football. You wrapped up spring ball on Saturday. Give me a sense of what the last month was for the Dragons.
Honestly, really, really great. We practice in the morning at 6, so it's not the warmest, but I'll tell you, over the last month that we had the best mornings that we've had. Very low wind, really reasonable temperatures. There was maybe one day I remember walking off the field going, I have no idea how the quarterbacks can throw today with my hands out just for a little bit writing, and it's frozen and can't feel it. But other than that, it felt great. I thought it was a really consistent rhythm for us. The schedule laid out really well, to be honest, that we weren't out there very many weekends. It was Tuesday, Thursday, Friday morning. It was great. And that was a change we made back a handful of years ago when Coach Kleiman just kind of said he'd been visiting with Clemson, and they said, why are you practicing on the weekends? You don't need to. And so, they just shared that info was shared with me, and then it really played out well.
You made it through everything, I think, almost unscathed with your roster, correct? In terms of the portal and what you had, the guys you were hoping to be back are all going to be back this coming fall.
Yeah, for the most part, Finn Ridgway going back to Montana, distance, that's it, some of that happens. But other than that, we've been fortunate year after year to have the nucleus back, and we've lost 1 to 2 guys per year, max in the last whatever it's been 4 years. I think our guys love being around each other. I think they love the experience that they get. That's more than football. I think they realize that they're getting a great experience on and off the field, and our job is to keep recruiting them every single year to get them back. Everybody's ultimately a volunteer, and we got to win that battle year after year. And so far so good for us.
Your quarterback I had on the show last fall, and he told me, I'm coming back. I'm going to be the guy. Describe of having a signal caller in his 4th year like Jack Strand to lead you this coming fall. What kind of advantage that is?
Well, certainly great on the field, but great for the rest of the guys on our team. Of what, I have choices and opportunities where I could be other places, and I choose here for the reasons that I choose it, and leading at the forefront of how he lives, how he chooses, how he plays. Having a guy that's experienced pulling the trigger in our offense is definitely exciting. There's it's invaluable, the experience he has, but I think we've worked really hard to create a roster, especially on offense, that gives him as many weapons at his disposal as possible. And that's, we're hoping for this kind of moment, building to it.
Right.
We get him for his senior year, and can we build weapons around him? And so I feel like we've done that. It was a really competitive spring. There's a lot of guys that stepped up, and I think it could be a really exciting fall for us.
Okay, so now I'm going to get you in trouble. Give me 2 guys, offense, defense, we don't know yet, that we're going to know come the start of the fall season for the Dragons.
Ooh, okay. Well, I think offensively, I'll go split vote here. Gavin Lill out of Bismarck Century and Denzel Sutton. Both unique players and very, Gavin, I think, is kind of this tight end, wide receiver, running back-ish. It adds a dimension. Christian McCaffrey type. He does a lot of different things.
Okay.
I think Denzel is a guy that has the potential to be cut. He's cut out of the same cloth as Gage. And if that can all click for him,
That's scary.
he can have a tremendous tremendous situation that he's going to be in. I think the name on defense, Denver Piowski, Fargo
Davies kid. Yep.
He is starting to blossom, and by the end of the year, he became a splash player that you started to notice. And I think we've crafted some things that have allowed him to be in his best wheelhouse. And I think he can be a name that really catches people's eyes.
The big question I always get from people that maybe don't know is, okay, what are coaches doing now? Spring ball's done, and especially in this day and age, you just mentioned it, you're always worried about your roster, but what's ahead? What's the next month to 6-7 weeks look like for you and for the Dragons?
Yeah, so this month is actually, for the most part, really busy. I say that, but we try and get some balance. But today we'll quick review, kind of finish up our review of spring, some of the different tweaks we made, and was it good? Was it bad? What do we have to adjust for the fall? We will start to game plan our first 4 opponents for the fall. So we'll kind of get those things moving. And then while it's fresh, we'll start to plan out our fall camp. How are the drills going to work? How many reps are we going to get everything? So a lot of it's math of, okay, we get to the end of spring, we're going to have to get 55 reps of this play. How's that going to happen over the course of these 2.5 weeks of fall camp? And how are we going to develop our team? What's our kind of area of focus to get skill acquisition? And so we try and get it as much done in May as we can, because June we're running all over to camps and doing those things. And it's great, but it's busy. And then we try and get away a little bit in July and have our own camps. And then boom, we're in the submarine.
Couple more topics here with Steve before we let him go. You actually have a lengthy road trip. You're going to Northern Michigan, old school. That's a Bison perennial opponent there from the old D2 days. How did that come on the schedule?
Well, some you start looking geographically. What are the closest Division II schools we can find? and honestly, the 9.5-hour trip's about one of the closest non-conference games we can get. And so worked out that I know Shane, their head coach Richardson, from my time at NDSU. We crossed paths there, and so there's a little bit of a connection. They were looking for a game. We're looking for a game. I felt honestly it made sense. They play indoors, and so we got Jack Strand. If we can guarantee one game, he's going to be in a dome without snow, wind, rain. Let's take it. They'll come back the next year.
Okay.
And, for us looking at it saying, hey, we'll have a new quarterback at that point. And so if his opening game can be at home with fewer distractions, that's a better thing for us, big picture. And so that's really kind of how it played out for us, and being a home and home worked out.
9.5 hours is the closest one, huh?
Pretty much. There's not a ton of options that are a lot better than that.
You know where
especially if
where
it's
I'm going, don't you? You know what I'm going to say.
Go for it.
There's a team right down the street you could play too.
I am 100% on board with that, and would like to try and make that happen.
I
And I
know.
there's some schedules that got to figure out how to work out, and so hopefully in 2 years when our schedule's up,
Yeah, right.
I think
Fingers
there'll be
crossed.
some possibilities because currently our conference has all the bye weeks set at either 0 or week 7.
Okay.
So you got to fill one of those 2 weeks. Well, week 7's not a lot of great options. So I think 2 years from now we'll have like the league will be split up between maybe week 0, week 1, week 2 being off, and so maybe that'll
There you go.
give us an opportunity to make it happen.
You gave me some optimism there for the Coppers and the Dragons to play football again.
Hopefully.
Last thing before I let you go, I believe last week the NCAA signed off, Steve, on expanding the Division II playoffs up to 32 teams now. How big a deal is that for the NSIC? We've talked about it every year, that there should be 3 or 4 teams in. Sometimes you only get 2. How big a deal is that for the league now that the tournament's been expanded?
Well, it's really important, and it was, a little bit of a concern because we passed the automatic qualifier past the first hand, and then you're like, oh no, now we're letting teams in that maybe shouldn't get in, with the hope that it was going to expand. So thank goodness it expanded. I think, for us, it's awesome. Our league, we've been successful when we get into the playoffs, and you're still going to have the battle of regionalization where we're probably going to have to beat each other up in the first round of the playoffs and knock somebody out. But at least we got a chance to get people, a seat at the table. That's all I'm saying. If you get a chance to be in the dance, you can make anything happen. And so that's a really good thing, and looking forward to see how that plays out.
It's great to see you, bud. Be well. Enjoy your time on the track the next couple of weeks, and we'll catch up down the road. All right.
Well, I'm not going to be, if I'm on the track, there's a pulled muscle for sure. I'll hopefully be off the track for sure. But yeah, really exciting. I'm glad you guys are broadcasting that. It's going to be awesome.
You know what? If you want to get on the track, we'll definitely televise that. I'm going to tell you that right now. We'll put that on.
You and me, give the people what they want.
No one wants to see me run. Hey, I did my running in the 5Ks for the Fargo Marathon, and that was not pretty television. I'm going to tell you that right now. So no one wants to see that.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's not wreck a good thing. We'll just stay off and you announce it, and I'll chase my son.
Sounds like a plan. Good to see you, bud. Be well.
Thanks.
Steve Laqua joining us here, MSUM head football coach. Dragons just wrapped up spring ball. Exciting team over in Moorhead with a quarterback that has thrown for over 4,000 yards the last couple of years. MSUM's got a team that they'll be scoring some points again this coming fall. We'll take our final break. We'll come back. We'll get to a couple emails, get you ready for a big Thursday. Wild trying to keep their season alive. We'll get you ready for that. Hot Mike will wrap on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com right after this.